Hey, everybody. I hope everyone's having a blessed day. Today, I wanted to talk about is your testimony and how important that testimony is. Your testimony wasn't just for you. It was for many people around you. And I'm going to go over a couple verses and things in detail of why your testimony is so important. And it is so powerful. And it really puts a seed in people's minds when we talk about the Lord and experiences that we had with the Lord and what he's done in our life, and how important it is to share that message, not just to keep it between you and God, but for you to share it with others, because there's so many people that are going through what you just came out of. So let's start off with John 9:25. He replied, "Whether he is a sinner or not, I do not know. One thing I do know, I was blind, but now I see." Now the Pharisees are asking him questions about what happened to him, and they're trying to get him to say something that they can use against Jesus. But he tells the truth. He doesn't have the theological answers to the questions that they're asking him to prove what he experienced. All he knew is what Jesus did for him. That's the only thing he could share, was his experience of what actually happened to him between him and Jesus. And that was his testimony. And by him sharing his testimony, they couldn't say another thing. They couldn't ask another question, because how can someone debate against you what you experienced? Our testimonies that God has taken us out of situations that we were helplessly in, seasons, the storms, and share that message with other people that plants a seed into their mind, and it could possibly give them hope on whatever they're going through. And understand this, our testimony brings glory to God. And I want you to understand something, how powerful your testimony is and how important it is for you to share that testimony with others. I'm going to share a testimony I have, an experience I've had sharing my testimony with others. And I was in prayer once, and the Lord led me to join a Christian MC. And in this MC, you have a big cross on your back, and you ride, like every other MC. They have a lot of things you have to do, just like a regular MC is, bar to bar riding. And a lot of times I noticed people were respecting us because of how organized it was and how we rode just like them, that they were very open to having us around them. And I went to a lot of places that were very dark. And you could just feel the darkness, like it's a thick fog all around you. A lot of people in these places were drinking all day and night and been there for quite some time. And you had some pretty rough people around you. And we always, pray over everybody before we went in. And what I found out is a lot of these people never tried to seek God. They never questioned anything. They never had the intentions to talk to anybody about God. But when they see you walk in, they're already intrigued because they see that you're completely not living that type of lifestyle, but yet you can ride a motorcycle and everything just like them. And it sparks that interest. So then they start, asking questions every now and then. And then you have the opportunity to share your testimony. And I've shared my testimony many times and made a lot of close relationships where I would never go to these places if I wasn't put into some situation that the Lord led me to be in. So when I go there and I share, a testimony, you just see the spark in their eyes. Like they were like, I'm going through this, or I've been through this situation, I'm suffering from this. And then you share your experience and how God's pulled you out of it. They instantly, usually will ask for prayer. And I've had that happen before, where a gentleman and his wife were riding on a motorcycle and they had a real bad accident. And I was on my way out of a place after I spent some time there talking with some people. And on my way out, he stops me. He says, "Can I talk to you outside?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." So we stepped outside, and there's a lot of, club members out there in the parking lot of this facility. And they're all like surrounding the area. And he asked me if I could pray for him and his wife. So I said, "Yeah, sure." So I prayed for him right in front of everybody, laid hands on him, prayed over his wife, and I told him that the Lord was going to heal his wife, that his wife was going to be okay, because he was very concerned about his wife getting her life back. It was very uncertain that she was even going to be able to comprehend who he was anymore, because she has some brain damage and some things going on. And I just felt like the Lord is going to heal her, and she will be, she will get her life back. So I prayed that over him. It was a very powerful moment, and like tears were down his face. And then I got his phone number, and shortly enough, a few weeks later, he was just telling me how his wife quickly recovered and how she really got her life back, and how it just excited, and how he was just so taken back from all of it, and just thanking God for those healings. And that's because of me being in a situation where I would not normally be in, but being open enough and just sharing, with testimonies, or just talking to people about the Lord. In another time, same situation, I was in a club in another facility with a bunch of people that have been partying pretty hard all night. I talked to some people that were there. I shared my testimony with one of them, and he was the furthest thing from the Lord. He was worshiping demons. He admitted to everything. He read the Bible quite a bit, that he knew enough to bring up some pretty tough questions. And we had a lot of discussions going back and forth. And I know the Lord told me, he said he wanted this one. He said, I want this one. So I ended up sharing a few testimonies that I had with him that sparked a lot of interest in him. And we kept in touch over time. And he ends up going to prison for some unfortunate events. But by him going there, he said he prayed out to every God he knew. And he said the only one that answered to him was Jesus. So he ends up encountering the Lord, receiving the Holy Spirit in the prison cell, and then getting back to me, telling me that he gave his life to Christ. And I'm telling you, it is so important to know your testimony and be able to share that with people, because sometimes that's the one seed that is planted in their mind that sticks with them. And it's just something that God puts you through sometimes. Sometimes we think we're going through the worst situation, worst personal experience that we could possibly go through. And we feel alone. We feel God is not there for us. But realistically, when we get out of it looking back, we understand God was with us the entire time, and he walked us through this whole thing. And now you have this powerful testimony to share with everyone, because there's many, many people that are going to go through that same event that you went through. So let's take a look at Revelation 12:11. They triumphed over him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. They did not love their lives so much as to shrink from death. The word of their testimony is not just for you. What God has put you through, an experience he has given you, and what he saved you from, it's not just for you and him. It's not just between you and him. It is for you to share with the world. It's for you to share with others who are experiencing those same situations as you, that need you, that absolutely need to hear your testimony. And understand that our testimony gives others hope, that God can do the same thing that he's done for you, that he can do for them. Let's take a look at 2 Corinthians 1:4. Who comforts us in all our troubles, so that we can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves receive from God. Your testimony is such a big impact in other people's lives, and sometimes we don't always see the impact. Sometimes we do. Sometimes the individual might have the same outcome as you and be saved and share that what you shared with them has touched them. Your testimony is what empowers you to continue with your walk with the Lord. And this is what I suggest doing. I really highly suggest doing this. Write down all the testimonies that you can remember and any prayers that are answered moving forward, because it is so powerful when you go back years later You start to read and remind yourself of the things that the Lord has done for you. Whenever you're going through a difficult time, whenever like hope seems lost and you feel like you're stuck in a corner and there's just doesn't seem like no way out. And you start to read, oh yeah, the Lord did this for me. The Lord did this for me. Oh yeah, 10 years ago, the Lord did this for me. You start reading what the Lord has done before, it starts to build your faith back up. It starts to give you that confidence to know that he's done it before and he's going to do it again. He will surely do it again. If he's done it before, he's surely going to do it again. And sometimes we just need to be reminded of those things. And if we don't write them down, I'm certain many of us will forget not all the testimonies, but a lot of these specific events that the Lord has walked us through just because time has passed and we haven't thought about it, that we forget. We forget what the Lord has done. So that's why it's so important to write these events down. Write down the prayers that you have prayed hard over, and God has walked you through and answered those prayers. It is so important to do that because it will guarantee to build your faith whenever you're going through a tough time. But not only that, when you open that book up and you have a lot of testimonies of prayers answered and you have specifics of what events took place and you share that with somebody, they're not going to debate you on it because there's no way that they can. Like the events, and then they see them, things for themselves. So let me ask you something. What is your story? We all have been through a season, a storm or something, health concern, health scare. We've all been through something. So what is your story? We all have that testimony where God has brought us out of these situations. But the biggest thing to understand is that testimony is not just for you. It's for you to share with others. So if this has blessed you in any type of way, please like, share, subscribe, and God bless.